In this video, you will learn why your scale weight may fluctuate, how to use the scale to track your progress, and how to use other metrics to measure your results. The scales can be a cruel mistress. Many people become obsessed over the number readings, and many can become afraid at even the sight of a set of scales. Let me first start by saying, both of these scenarios are very common. So, if one of these sounds like you, you're not alone. These generally come down to not knowing how to use the scales and not knowing about the very frequent occurrence of fluctuations in body weight even throughout the day. I'll start with a personal anecdote to help ease your mind, then deep dive in how to use the scales to your advantage to make sure you're measuring your true progress. A couple of years ago, I was attempting to put on a bit of muscle mass, so I put myself in a slight caloric surplus to help this happen. I hadn't been using the scales for quite some time previous to this, but I wanted to use them to help see if I was gaining weight at the appropriate rate. So one Monday morning, before my workout, I stepped on the scales. My reading was 83.8 kilos. I thought to myself, all right, that's my starting weight. I want to put on about 2% of body weight per month, so here we go. The following day, I caught up with my cousins for lunch. I ordered myself a delicious serving of Mongolian beef, and we both split a serving of 12 dumplings. Later that evening, I went to the gym, and before I started my workout, I stepped on the scales. To my shock, the reading was 87.9 kilos. That's an increase of 4.1 kilos in one day. Not gonna lie, this threw me off and left me feeling pretty disheartened for a moment, as it would anyone. After a moment of reflection, I calmed down and got on with my workout. The next morning, when I went to gym, I stepped on the scales again, and my scale weight read 84 kilos. Keep in mind, I used the exact same industrial strength scales for all of these measurements. You see, our body weight will change throughout the day and throughout the week for a whole host of reasons. Some of the reasons for the fluctuations in my weight in this instance could be, well, you generally weigh less in the morning than you do in the evening, so the difference in time could change the scale weight. Also, my meal at lunch with my cousin was high in sodium, or salt, and carbohydrate, both of which retain water. Usually, there's about 2 grams of water bound with every 1 gram of carbohydrate. So, I would have been retaining more water in that evening scale reading. Also, I tend to drink a lot of water throughout the day, so I would have been more hydrated than I would have been if I weighed in the morning, leading to a higher scale reading. What I'm trying to get at is, fluctuations in scale weight are perfectly normal. Try not to obsess over any one reading. Other reasons for fluctuations in body weight include stress levels, our hormonal levels, whether we've been active throughout the day, have we been moving around more, have we been to the bathroom, among many other things. Hopefully this eases your mind a little. So, how do we get an accurate reading to measure our progress? Well, we can start with these simple rules. When using the scales to measure your progress, make sure that you replicate similar conditions each time. Make sure you use the same scales each time, and make sure that these scales are accurate. There can be quite a significant difference in body weight reading from scale to scale. Make sure that you take these scale readings at a similar time, preferably in the morning after voiding. Try to make sure that you take the scale reading in as little clothing as possible, or at least the same clothes. The difference in weight from different items of clothing can be quite substantial. And most importantly, try not to obsess over any one reading. Fluctuations in weight throughout the day are very normal. Now I'll cover how to use the scales to measure your weight loss, or whatever your goal is, over time. Most people get this a bit wrong. It has been common practice to jump on the scales once or maybe twice a week to see if the scale weight has gone down. If it has, people tend to keep on doing what they're doing. But if it hasn't, or even if it's gone up, people tend to make hasty and recklessly restrictive decisions that could make it very hard for them to reach their goal. Often cutting calories extremely low and then binge eating when things don't go as planned. But remember, it's perfectly normal for the scale weight to fluctuate from day to day for a variety of different reasons. So using this reactive type scale method is destined for failure and often the development of disordered eating behaviours. So, how do we use the scales then? Well, our weight loss will be based on trends over time. We want to aim for an appropriate rate of loss of about 1 to 2% of body weight per week. If you want to learn more about this, check out our video on how to use a phasic approach to dieting. So, if our weight loss is based on trends over time, so too should be our scale weight measurements. Instead of basing our weekly weight loss off one scale reading, we want to take an average of multiple scale readings. This will help eliminate some of the fluctuations to that scale weight and also help to mitigate some of the negative side effects of using a scale. A method of doing this would be to measure your weight 5 times per week under the same conditions and take an average of those 5 readings. That average reading will represent the more accurate reading of your weekly body weight and more accurately track your progress. Do this every week for the length of your weight loss efforts and you'll see the trend over time. And there you have it. That's how you use the scales in a more accurate and healthy way to represent and measure your progress. It can also be quite beneficial to use other metrics along with or in replacement of the scales to measure your progress. You see, using the scales isn't for everyone, and it can sometimes do more harm than good. Another useful metric to measure your progress can be using how your clothes fit. If your clothes are fitting looser, then you are losing weight. Another method is using pictures or progress pics. Take a photo of yourself. It is best in minimal clothing, and pick 3 points on your body to use as visual markers. Take another photo a few weeks or a few months later and compare the pair. You should see changes in those 3 visual markers. Now, with these progress pics, it's important to replicate the similar conditions as you would for the scale reading. So, similar lighting, same clothing, same position, and even the same room. Continue this process over time and you'll see your weight loss trends. These progress pictures are also awesome motivational tools, as you can see the changes in your physique over time. That's it for now. Hopefully you found some value in this video and that these techniques can help you with your health and fitness journey. Happy training!